What's going on, guys? You guys are tuning into the Watch Podcast with your host, owner operator Eric Huggins. Nice Watch Patrol. We are the lights in the dark. Oh God, I'm still kind of sick. Psalm 139 verse 12, and today we're episode 46. This is private property. Let's go!
Sorry? What are you doing?
I'm asking what you guys are doing.
Oh, well, I'm asking what you're doing.
I'm security guards.
Okay.
You guys can't film here without any permission from me.
Better way to approach me. Hey, how's it going? My name's Jim.
You going to jail. You going to jail, bro.
Now you're off
You
the
going
property.
to jail, bro. This is a sidewalk.
This is private property. So move. This is private property, and you have no permission to be here. Wow. Yet.
Catch a charge.
For what?
Trespassing, disorderly conduct, and assault.
On what?
Now this is your one opportunity I'm going to give you.
Let me get your shot, John.
Back up and go downstairs.
You put your hands on me.
Ma'am, I asked you to
You
leave
grabbed me.
private property. Now you can go downstairs
Get off me.
or I can put you in handcuffs.
For what?
Trespassing,
I was
disorderly
here.
conduct, and... What's going on, guys? You guys are tuned into the Watch Podcast. Today on episode 46, Private Property. This is Private Property. And a lot of people are so confused with private property. And before we get into it, I want to just make sure you guys all had amazing Thanksgiving. And you guys had a good time. And if you guys called out for work because you guys were sick so conveniently, leaving other people having to work longer hours, me, you guys can go suck it easy. But for everybody else, I hope you guys had an amazing Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, I've been sick for like the last 3 weeks, and I think I came down with some bronchitis. I didn't go to the doctor or anything. I didn't get time for that. And it hasn't gotten worse, and I just been doing what I would normally do, just take it easy a little bit. And because I've been out riding, I've been out cycling, going to the gym, running. I've been doing all kind of outdoor stuff, and of course I was gonna get sick from this, but it is what it is. Feel a little bit better now. My voice isn't so raspy, but I still got a little bit of raspiness in there. Anyway, so private property. What is private property? What is private property? Is any real property, including but not limited to buildings, structures, yards, open spaces, walkways, courtyards, driveways, carports, parking areas, vacant lots, except land which is used exclusively for agriculture purposes owned by any person or legal entity, other than the property or owner or lawfully possessed by any government entity or agency. Okay. And so for the purpose, a sign must be posted in a conspicuous manner at every walkway and driveway entering any enclosed property or portion, therefore at a minimum of 50 feet along the boundary of any unenclosed lot. This requirement is met if at least one sign is conspicuously printed or posted on outside of every structure on such property so as to be readable for each walkway and driveway entering such property. Now, the sign would normally say, this is private property. You'll have signs that say no trespassing. You'll have you go to Home Depot, they got, you can get a whole stack of signs, all right? And my biggest issue with signs is it attracts people. When you have too many trespass signs, it tells me that they don't have security. All these trespass signs, they probably don't have security. Any criminal-minded person will know that when they see all these signs that there is no security there. Okay? And who can enforce that private property sign? No, law enforcement cannot enforce that private property sign unless a crime has been committed. Okay. And there's so many differences between private security and law enforcement when it comes to securing a private property. One of the major differences between private security officers and law enforcement is the right to detain individuals. Police can arrest or detain persons on a property provided there is a probable cause. Okay, probable cause meaning like they see a crime in progress, they see someone actively committing a crime in their presence. They can enter the private property. Private security officers only have the arrest or detainment rights just as much as any private citizen out there. Okay. So me wearing regular clothes, I can go out there and privately detain someone for a crime I see that has been committed in my presence. If I see some guy walking around on a bicycle with a ski mask on and some bolt cutters in his backpack, he gets off his bike and he puts it in an inconspicuous area where it can't be seen, and I see him cut open that lock and attempt to enter a building, I can detain him, her, whatever it wants to be. I can detain him as a private citizen. Now, the issue with that is a private security guard can also invoke that right to detain someone. But it would be more riskier for someone walking around in plain clothes like me versus a security guard that's looking very, very uncomfortable in the uniform that he's in versus my comfortability. But a security guard is able to have to show that authority versus me. I'm just a regular guy, walking around. And what could be the issue between me and just walking around in regular clothes versus security guard is that the person that's trying to break into a building may incite violence towards me. He may fight me. He may pull out his knife, but it may deter him from wanting to do that same behavior to someone that was in uniform because they have a sense of authority. And then obviously observe and report. We see them. We give the information out to law enforcement. They get arrested. They go to jail, and we ruin their day. They don't want that. But security guards, like I said, we can make these attainments. All right. Is it in your best interest? You have to check the company that you're working with. You got to make sure that it's in the best interest of the company and also the best interest of the client that you're providing security services for to detain someone for committing a crime. Okay. And we'll go into some more times where it would be appropriate to make detainments in a minute, but police, it's in certain states. Okay, certain states, certain counties where it's a little bit slower, more of like a mild lifestyle. They can get law enforcement contracted to patrol their property. Private business owners can get law enforcement to patrol their private properties. But if you guys live in Bakersfield, big metro cities, LA, Los Angeles, the Bay Area, you're gonna have a lot of issues as a business owner trying to get law enforcement to show up. Okay. I hear this so often of these business owners bitching and complaining, saying, I pay so much money in taxes. Law enforcement doesn't show up. What are we paying for? Why do we even have law enforcement here? They're supposed to be working for us, working for me. If you guys work security or you guys work law enforcement, you guys hear this all the time from these pissed off private business owners. And all law enforcement can say is, you got to fill out this sign. We'll take care of it, okay? And we're going to get into this in a minute. But That's what the city's doing right now. You know, it's been like that for years. I don't know why the sudden change, and all of a sudden now it's new. And when everyone sees it, everyone's like, ah! Trespass forms, about time. Sorry, darling, they've been there for quite some time. I filled out some couple myself. But whatever. But security, the unique thing about security is that we are available 24/7. Okay. And we're so much more flexible than law enforcement when it comes to the details and the scheduling of the patrol times. Now, you may get lucky. You may get law enforcement to show up to your property, but how often are they going to show up? If it's a weekend and a holiday and it's busy, they're not coming by your property to patrol it. I'm sorry. Your tax dollars are going somewhere else that night, that day, that week. But private security, if you guys contract private security, they can show up when you guys need us to. You got issues going between 10 and 2? We're going to send someone there between 10 and 2. Unscheduled. Just between 10 and 2. We're there. Say less. And the private security officers, we will act as an agent on behalf of the property owner. We have access to the property inside and out. For the police, for law enforcement to enter a building, let's just say they respond to an alarm call, okay, and there would have to be probable cause for them to enter the building, okay, meaning, in other words, that there has to be an open door, there has to be some sort of damage or a broken window or a kicked in door, some sort of signs of tampering, and these have to be, or some other evidence that would say that a crime has or is being committed. And private security officers can patrol a property and perform a full search of the property on behalf of the owner and question any person on the property at any time. The problem with private security is that sometimes they just ask too many goddamn questions. And sometimes we have to pick and choose when we decide to ask these questions to certain individuals, okay? If it's 6 o'clock on an afternoon and someone's skateboarding on a private property, I'm not going to sit there and chase them in my little Prius, and I don't have a Prius, I'm just kidding. But I'm not going to chase them in my vehicle to say, hey, you can't be here, get off property. What's going to happen is that the kid's going to tell me to go suck it easy, and then it's really going to ruin my day. For private security guards, it's going to not only ruin their day, it's going to want them to incite violence sometimes. Pepper spray them. Chase them. Call the police. Glorified cop callers. And so the thing is with private security, they are the best content for content creators with these gosh damn First Amendment auditors. It makes me laugh. It's funny. But at the same time, I get so pissed off that security guards fall into their little YouTube games.
You know what? You don't have the authority to call the sheriff. So I'm on the public sidewalk, my boy.
Yeah, but you're
I don't give a shit.
Recording.
Anything I can see, I can film, my boy. You better learn. You're gonna learn a lesson. You call the sheriff, you're gonna learn a lesson today.
It's fine. Like I said, we're just like.
The security guard made $80 a day. The content creator, the First Amendment auditor, made $300 that day off that one video because you reacted. Now, how often do you guys have First Amendment auditors coming to you on your property and messing with you and showing up with the camera? And then what you guys do? You guys can't be here. It's private property. But if it's an open property, they can record. You guys need to check your amendments on those. Now, obviously, as private security, we are not subject to those amendments. We're not a government. We're not government agencies. We're not the police department. We're not the FBI. We're not the CIA. We're just security guards. So we don't have to invoke their First Amendment rights. We don't have to. They have no rights. We're security guards. Gosh dang it. But in all fairness, I always tell security guards, if you're being recorded, just play it cool, play casual. No need to sit there and get riled up and ruffle up your feathers over some guy recording. It is what it is. We got camera phones. We can record all damn day. What's the difference of a guy with the camera? Maybe 20 years ago, you recording would be illegal. Okay? And now there's camera phones everywhere and everyone's recording everything. And honestly, it is what it is. So I need you guys to stop overreacting when you guys get one of those damn First Amendment auditors coming up. I remember a few years ago when we first started, we had a First Amendment auditor. One of my guys called me and says, "Hey man, there's this guy following me in the car. He keeps calling me. He's saying I'm impersonating a police officer." I was like, "What? Say less. On my way. En route. I'm 10-8." And I go up there, I show up there, and I gave a guy a piece of my mind. You can check the video out.
No, this is private property.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
Delete that off your phone.
property. I'm not deleting anything because you're on property.
So what are you gonna do with it then?
Excuse me?
What are you gonna do with that photo?
Well, I can do a lot of things with it.
Like what?
Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
You see?
All right?
I need a watch commander. I'm gonna get your ass fired too, bro.
You get me fired. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you call a supervisor and watch commander, please?
Hey, Mr. Melendez, so here's the deal. You called about you thought he was impersonating an officer.
He didn't
He's
identify,
not-
though.
He doesn't have to. He's a security guard. They don't have to identify anything. They're not law enforcement. So
He
you,
flashed a light at me.
you have
so
all your rules mixed up. You don't understand the laws, okay? So he's fine. He doesn't have to do anything.
Don't let him leave. I need a watch commander to tell him to delete that.
That-
He threatened me.
there-
He's gonna do something with the photos.
What's he gonna do with the
I don't
photos?
know. He said he's gonna do something.
Okay. Anyways, so here's the deal. You don't have to follow this guy anymore. He's not a cop. He doesn't have to identify himself. He's not impersonating a cop. He has all the right.
I hate police impersonators, bro.
Yeah, I hear you. But that's
After
not
he
one
flashed
of
his
them.
light, he ran away, bro. So that was suspicious. I had to follow him.
Oh, I'm glad you did, and I'm glad we were able to clear it up,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
So he's not what you thought he was. So he checks out. He's actually doing one of his checks right now on his property. So everything's a-okay. So
Can you tell him to delete it?
I can't tell him to do anything with his property. So it's all cleared up. So everything's good. So I'm out of here. Cleared it up.
I'll call 911 on you, bro.
Okay. Call 911. Call 911.
But anyway,
All right.
I'll keep recording you too while I'm at it.
private security guards can, we can, like I said, we can question individuals on a property at any time for any reason without violating their rights. Because we're not subject to those amendments. Police officers are government agents. They're police officers. They have to abide by the 4th and 14th Amendment rights. And you go, what's the 4th Amendment right? Let me tell you. The 4th Amendment right is the right of a person to be secure in his persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue. But upon probable cause, supported by the oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and persons or things to be seized. So they need a search warrant to come on your private property if they're going to be searching and asking questions. Okay? The 14th Amendment right, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of a citizen of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any persons of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any persons within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. The great thing is that law enforcement has to, the bad thing is that law enforcement has to abide by these, but private security, we do not have to abide by these amendments because we're not government, we're not a government agency. We're private. We're just security guards, with a damn uniform on. So yes, we don't have to be subjected to these amendments, but law enforcement does. That's why it makes it so much harder for law enforcement to be able to remove people from these properties. Now, private security companies have more authority, private security guards have more authority over private property than law enforcement does. And I tell this to everybody, but I don't know why no one believes me. And private security companies, private security officers, represent the property owners. We represent the property owners. Okay. The police, even off duty on special assignment, they represent the city, the county, and the state that they work for. The police cannot show up to anyone and ask if they live on the property. They can't ask what they're doing. They can't ask any damn question. And when law enforcement is on a private property and they ask anybody if they live here, what are you doing, etc., without any probable cause, they can be in violation of the person's constitutional rights, which could open the police or the property owner up for a civil suit. The police are not allowed to speak on for persons on suspicion unless they have a reasonable suspicion that a crime may have been committed. And they must be able to articulate the suspicious in clear language. They can't be using no police code or nothing like that. But private security guards, officers, can interact with anyone at any time without civil repercussions. We do not represent the government, and we do not represent the Constitution. So it does not apply to private security. So we can't get in trouble for that. And typically police work in the criminal realm. Okay, they're reactive to incidents. Private security, we are proactive when it comes to things. We are preventing. That's why we're hired. We prevent crimes from occurring. Law enforcement responds to calls and crimes that are happening, while we are there to just prevent it from occurring. And so all law enforcement are not allowed to become civilly involved. A lot of law enforcement are not allowed to become involved in civil matters. Okay. The property owner rights, lease agreements, or anything of such as civil matters. So meaning like if I'm on if the law enforcement officers on a property they get a call and someone says, "Hey, I let this guy use my bike. He stole it from me, and now he won't give it back." Law enforcement is gonna tell that person, "Well, you're gonna have to go file a civil suit. I can't do anything about that. That's a civil matter. You guys need to get an attorney, whatever. Do what you guys got to do." Private security, on the other hand, do not have. We can actually make a decision right then and there if it's on a private property. And the great thing about private security is that we're able to operate in both civil and criminal matters. Okay. And the police have no knowledge or responsibility in a lot of those areas. Okay. And it's not the duty of the police officers to protect the individual citizens. Okay. They're not there for just one person. They're there for everybody. Us as private security, we are there in the best interest of the property owner, the person that hired us for that job. Okay. We care. We're responsible for that person that hired us. Because private security can and will protect all persons on the property of the client. That's our job. Security officers have a contractual obligation to the client. Law enforcement does not. Law enforcement does not have a contractual obligation to arrive on your property. Their trespass forms, police have a great deal of immunity against taking any action under the public duty doctrine. And police are not obligated to act on any citizen's behalf. Meaning, you cannot say, You need to arrest him right now. He committed a crime. I seen it. And you should arrest him right now. They're obligated to do that. They're only obligated to act if there's a crime being committed. Okay? You guys know. So the city has this form out. Okay? It's called the Trespass Enforcement Authorization Form. And basically what it states is you got to fill it out and stuff. And it has our property located at 123 Suck It Easy Avenue is experiencing people trespassing onto the property, causing peace disturbances and engaging in criminal activity. People involved in and responsible for these matters enter and remain upon our property without permission and engage in unintended use activities. Oftentimes, these people enter upon the property when no one is present or after regular business hours. The property located at 123 Suck It Easy Avenue is experiencing people trespassing on the property. I authorize the Bakersfield Police Department to enforce trespassing and any other applicable laws, codes, or ordinances against persons located on the property without having to contact me beforehand. I acknowledge the Trespass Enforcement Authorization Form is valid for 1 year. Wow, whoop-de freaking do. Ow, that hurt. Get out of here. Now, it lasts for a year. Okay, little Susie Joe had an issue with one guy, and she said he can't be here. He kept showing up on property, and she gets his form signed. She gets the form signed. The guy happens to not show up anymore. You know, maybe law enforcement made contact with him and told him he can't be there, or he'd be subject for arrest, or he just found some new scenery. And little Susie Joe forgot to renew it. The guy shows up and breaks into her building a year later. And now she wants law enforcement to enforce the trespass rule, and they're gonna be like, "Well, you know, Susie Q, you didn't renew it. You gotta do it every year. What's wrong with you?" In some places, it's 6 months. Pure Bakersfield, it's a year. Now, the thing is that people sent me this video and said, "Hey, check it. Hey, look at law enforcement. They have these trespass forms now."
A trespass enforcement authorization is a form filled out by a property owner or manager which provides authorization for anyone who is loitering or camping on private property to be arrested, whether or not the responsible owner is present.
I'm like, what do you mean now? They've been here. I filled one out like 6 years ago when the illegal street racing was going on. I had someone that hired me to kick these people off. And honestly, I showed up there one day and I didn't have any issues after that. You know, they didn't show up after. But I did get law enforcement involved because the guy came up to me and says, "Hey, can we get you to sign, or the client that's hired, can we get them to sign a trespass form?" I said, "Oh, say less." So I signed it for them on behalf of the owner. And it gave law enforcement the authority to pull over vehicles inside of a private property. It gave them authorization to make detainments on a private property. And it was great. It was a great thing, you know. But is this good for everybody? No, it's not. Because little Susie Joe over there is going to be really, really pissed off when she signs this form and turns it into the police department. When she does see the person, calls law enforcement don't show up because they're busy. They're on high priority calls. Your trespass is a priority 3. No one's showing up. I'm sorry. Call on a slow day. Call. Call. I don't know when a slow day would be for here, but there's slow times. Okay. Call around 9 o'clock in the morning. All right. Someone hasn't screwed their day up yet. So call around that time if you see them there. But the problem is that people are going to get pissed off when they realize that law enforcement still isn't showing up to these trespasses. Okay? These been around for a long time. Now they want to enforce them. That's great. It's awesome. And it's probably because people are pissed off. Oh, they're not showing up. This guy keeps showing up on property. He keeps pooping, whatever. Keeps bringing all his trash here. And like I said, it's great. I have a friend that's a business owner downtown, and he signed a form. This is before this form became, I guess, now all of a sudden available. But he had signed a form, and he got, so what happens, it was a nightclub, and what happened was now law enforcement was able to get people away from the nightclub and tell them to go leave. Go kick rocks. Get the hell out of here. So that's a good thing, right? They're not loitering. They're not sitting there. They're not sitting there just drunk or falling over or loitering or playing loud music or drinking and dancing and stuff because because 2 o'clock, the party's not over for them at 2. So for them at 6, whatever. So it could be a great thing, but it never will beat private security. Okay. These forms will not beat private security because one, we're not subject. We don't work for the city. We're not contracted for the city. We're not a government agency. We can show up and we have time to show up. We have time. So I mean, yeah, these forms can be useful, but I truly believe that private security is the way to go. Why book up law enforcement on these trespass forms when you guys could just hire a private security company to enforce these laws? And if your private security company is not enforcing them, you need to get a new security company. I would be very, very upset if I knew my client decided to go to the city and fill one of these stupid forms out. I'd lose it. I'd be like, what's wrong with me? I'm a good guy. I can't hear everybody off. Be like, well, we don't really see anything happening. That would hurt my feelings. Okay. Definitely hurt my feelings. About a couple years ago, I had one of these business owners that owned all of downtown, damn near. And I see, he's in the police department. I was in the police department, getting some paperwork and stuff done. And I have an ear. I'm always ear hustling. And he's so upset. He's like, you know what? I don't know. What is it going to take me? What is it going to take me to do to get this person off the property? He's breaking into my house, keeps causing damage. And what did the police officers say? Well, sir, you're going to have to file a police report. You know why? They don't give a damn about your private property. I'm sorry. I don't want to take offense to it, but there's so many more important things in life than to worry about your damn property. It's important to you because it's your property. It would be important to me because you're hiring me to protect your property. So for private security and business owners, there is a commonality here. We're passionate about getting those persons off your property. You're passionate about keeping them off your property. Law enforcement's a government agency. They're not that passionate, okay? They show up when they can. Sometimes they show up on time. Sometimes they don't show up at all. Are you paying me? I gotta show up. I need money. I'm just kidding. But no, I gotta show. We're being paid. Not a lot, but you're paying us. So anyway, so this business owner had he had a house that he had up that was vacant, and he's like, I need something. He says, I have a security company, but all they do is been sitting out there, and the guy was inside taking a shower in my vacant home. And he actually also destroyed the bathroom. It's going to cost me $7,000 to fix it. And the guy had already hired a security company. So he's like, hey, what would it take for me to get you guys on? You know, as I'm talking to this guy, I'm educating him on how private property works and what security can do. And he's like, all right, let's do it. And I was like, all right, cool. Get him sign a contract. He signs everything. And then I start that same night. And the same night I bust the guy, detain him. I don't call law enforcement because what is that going to do? Nothing. Take that back. I did call law enforcement. They never showed up. Forgot about that part. So anyway, so I gave the guy to come in Jesus talk. He was clearly on drugs, and there was something that house had, that house belonged to his family, which was the reason why he kept showing up. And so anyway, long story short, I got the guy out of the house. I was able to move an ex-girlfriend in and her kids. And at the end of the day, you know, all's good. You know, I saved this guy's property from burning up or causing more damage. And he didn't need to hire law enforcement. He hired security, and security prevailed. It's good news. Gosh dang it. It was a damn win. I never felt so accomplished, I guess, if you will. Felt pretty good about it. And yeah. So if you guys are private security guards and you guys happen to see someone on your property that's loitering, you guys cannot just arrest somebody, detain somebody because the guy walks on property. Oh, he's trespassing, you're arrested. You can't do that. Gotta notify somebody first. When you're on private property, you gotta notify and say, hey, listen, I see you on this property. You've been loitering here the past couple of days. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything like that, but I need you off this property. Owner doesn't want you here. You've been loitering. You've been bringing your crap over here, and you're just no good. You're no good to this damn property. You don't need to be here. Go somewhere. Get today. Bye-bye. Get out of here. Bon voyage. And he comes back again. He's within that 24-hour. It depends on your guys' policies, but if it's 24 hours, he shows back up again, and you've already advised him, hey, we spoke already. I've talked to you already. I need you off this property. At this point right now, you are subject for trespass. And the guy can say, I'm sorry, I want to show back up again. Okay, cool. And he shows up again, then we can detain him. But it should never be on the first occasion that you catch him trespassing. I get it. You want to say, hey, I mean business. I'm being serious. But honestly, it's way more work. It's more paperwork and more of a headache when you detain someone because you have to wait for law enforcement to show up. If they don't show up, you got to cut the guy loose. The guy leaves. The guy tells you to suck it easy, whatever. It's just easier to get their name, their information, and have it documented. And if you guys, and to make a lot matters easier, you can just you give it to your owner. Hey, this is the report. Give this to your local police department and file a police report on this person. Okay? And when you do that, we see him, we detain him, law enforcement shows up, and there's already been a warrant that's been issued by local law enforcement, and the guy goes bon voyage for a couple days. Or a day. 24 hours. Whatever. Anyway. This was real. I hope I educated someone. I hope people are listening to this podcast, are leaving with information that they didn't know before, that they know now. Because my thing is to put people on game around here, you know, especially for those that work in the private sector and also those that work in law enforcement. Because the law enforcement sometimes they don't know what the rights private security companies and officers have. And I'm letting you guys know that we have more rights on a private property than you guys do. So, boom! All right. I'm just kidding. But guys, if you guys like this podcast, like, share, subscribe for sure. If there's something that you guys want me to talk about, maybe I'm in Bakersfield. If there's a property that you guys want me to go ahead and go ham on, I will. Pa. has been having some issues. I'm getting this close to saying something about it, but I have to go there first. And then when I go there, I do my little investigation, and I'll be a neck day on a damn podcast talking about Omnipod and their issues with their fights and their lack of security. So we're gonna figure that part out. Anyway, guys, this is real. This is cool. I like this. If you guys got any questions or concerns, you guys can find me at Night's Watch Patrol on Instagram, and you guys can go check our linked tree, and that's has access to all kind of where we're all at. Also, this podcast will be posted on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any other podcast platforms that's available that you guys are into. If there is a podcast, if you guys are not able to find me on one of your podcasts platforms, let me know. I'll add it on there, and then you guys can listen to those. It's been real. I hope you guys have an amazing week. And if you guys got any questions, concerns, you guys can, like I said, you guys can shoot me a message. Love God, love each other.
Watching me, and it's plain to see that you got your mind made up, girl, that you want.